Well, welcome, Fragrant Nuts. Today we're going to talk about one that's been compared to Delana by Parfums de Marly, the exclusive in particular, which came out in 2018. So today, let's get this one started. And this was called Frammenti by Bois 1920. And it was launched in 2023. So here we go. And I got this from Sense Blend. I believe this is a 9 milliliter decant. Anyway, so why do they compare it to Delana exclusive? It's probably because at the top there's some grapefruit, and then in the mid, I believe there is, I got my notes here, they're probably comparing it to the rose and the incense. Now, in I believe Delana, it's a Turkish rose, and in this we're not told what type of rose, be it a Damascus rose type of rose, but I would bet that it's probably not a Taif rose, but it is definitely probably a Turkish rose, the same. And then in the base, that's where it really is familiar to probably someone who has Parfums de Marly exclusive Delana. And that's because of the vanilla, there's bay musk, and there is amber. And I believe that's all, and then this goes in a different direction, but it still remains quite similar to Delana almost throughout the whole total wear of the fragrance. And so in this one here, there is some black currant. Now black currant have any of them ever noticed that black currant, it does give the green smell, but it's also been known to have what is a cat piss smell. Yeah, I don't know why it reminds you of cat piss, but hey, that's what some say. And then there's rhubarb in there, and the rhubarb can give it's kind of sweet and sour. Any of you I remember as a kid, we used to find rhubarb in people's yards, and we would break them off and eat them. You don't see that anymore. I haven't seen it. If you, hey, drop a comment. I'd love to know if you, as a kid, ever saw rhubarb growing in people's yards. And then there's the green notes, and then there's grapefruit, which is familiar to the Delana. And there's bergamot in here. And in the mid, we would have rose, there's violet, there's incense, and there's magnolia. And that's a white flower. It does give it a kind of a lemony smell. And then you got geranium. And then in the base, you're gonna have that caramel, which can be similar smell to, with the Delana, there could be almost like vanilla, but in here it does have vanilla. The caramel in here probably sweetens things up. It is quite sweet. And then there's white musk, and then there's amber, and there's benzoin. Incense in the mid, but here they places incense in the mid, and then benzoin, which is a resins, and they place it in the base. Doesn't tell us who the nose is behind this. I did try to research and find out. I couldn't find anything. If you know, let me know. But we do know that Quinton Biche is the nose behind Parfums de Marly Delana exclusive. And so it's possible he was paid to do something here for Bois 1920. I don't know. I've never bought any dupes. I've never been a dupe for a dupe, if that makes any sense. Don't get duped by dupes. I like the actual fragrance because I don't want something that smells just as or just like. I want the real thing, because if my hand is the one behind the chemistry, no one else, even if they have the recipe to the fragrance. It still may not be placed in where it should be. You just don't know. And so I prefer to get the original. Maybe someday I might, but at this point in 50 years, I've not had to. But however, I will note or take note that there are fragrances that does remind you of one. And there's another one in a video that I'm going to do, and it was strikingly similar. And it doesn't take me very long. That surprised me because I've been in the fragrance world since I was 14. I'm now 68. And so, and I can just within seconds remember where it came from. So again, if you have not smelled Delana, I'd say Frammenti is okay. But in my opinion, go with the Parfums de Marly. You will get tons of compliments. My wife wore this, I wore this. No one said a word. Not that we were looking for compliments, but because I know what Parfums de Marly Delana exclusive can do. When you're in the room, go with PDM. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this. Hey, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Have you smelled this? And if you have a copy of Delana exclusive, compare them and tell me, what do you think? Does Delana have cat piss smell? Always remember, keep smelling good. See you in the next video. Bye.